Feels great. There's a reason why they call it tennis paradise. It's an enjoyable experience for players, for fans, anybody that really loves this sport enjoys this tournament very much. So I was very excited to come back. It's been 5 years, and time flies incredibly fast. So let's hope I can have a good tournament. Obviously, I haven't played an official match since that Australian Open semi-finals. I've been practicing well. I arrived to LA quite early, spent some time with family, and ready to get into the competition.
Question, let's skip one each, please.
It's been a long time since you didn't start your season with a title in Australia. I just wonder what it's been like for the last month or so to process that, and if it's a big source of motivation for you.
It's very strange that the ATP director decided for my role, Novak Djokovic, not to win Australian Open. It's normally the case, but I had to accept it. Of course, jokes aside. By the way, I was telling everyone that the whole show was done so well. I think a lot of people reacted very positively to that. I enjoyed it so much. I think ATP has done a great job, media and content team, to finally present us in our real light with our real names. Australia has been, a place where I've won the most slams, and not always, but most of my career I was starting the seasons with a Grand Slam trophy, which of course gives you a huge wind in the sails for the rest of the season. And when you start the year in such fashion, then it's just you have more confidence. I also I guess you feel a big relief because at last 15 years I've been one of the top candidates to win every slam that I play on. So if that doesn't happen, then obviously people start to question whether you can do it again and again, and the more time passes by, of course, that question becomes even more of a focus. So I had a phenomenal Grand Slam season, particularly, and just overall last year. And also end of the year, made some amazing records in history of the sport. That took a lot out of me, and so I didn't feel like I really had a proper time to rest and to do a proper preparation block like maybe I would normally do. But it is what it is. I don't think I played my best tennis in Australia, whereas Yannick did, and he was just a far better player than me that day. And after that he made a incredible comeback in the finals and won his first title, so it was absolutely deserved. But that's okay, I haven't also played here 5 years, so it's nice to be back and be able to play in one of my favorite tournaments, really, a tournament that I won 5 times so far in my career. I'm excited. The season is very long. I have clarity in terms of my goals and what are the tournaments that I want to focus on mostly this year. Obviously, slams and Olympic Games. And try to get the most out of myself in Master Series events or any other event where I participate. So slightly different approach, in the last maybe few years than what it has been for the first maybe 15 years of my career. I'm not playing full seasons, I'm kind of more selective where I play, listening to my body, obviously talking with the team, creating a schedule basically around, slams and the biggest events in sport, and trying to get the most out of that and out of myself in these latter stages of my career.
Richard?
Novak, you've seen Roger retire, and now it's starting to look like we're getting the last glimpse at Rafa this year. Unfortunate that he's not going to be able to play here. And I just wondered how surreal that is for you as you continue on in your career and you're seeing these guys go, and they've been such an important part of your career in some way.
very important part of my career. I mean, these two guys have, along with Andy Murray, been an, inseparable part of, my development as a player, and everything that I have achieved. I think a lot of it has to do with the rivalries that I had with these guys. We all know that those moments will come for all of us, but when they actually come and you actually understand that that's it, that Roger finished his career, and Rafa and I are probably not going to play much more. It's a kind of one era comes to an end, and it's sad, but at the same time, I think there's so many wonderful moments and matches, milestones that we can celebrate when it comes to each one of us and us as a group. The rivalries, one of the greatest rivalries, if not the greatest rivalries that the sport has ever seen, between 3-4 of us. So yeah, I mean, let's see how far we can push the needle, so to say. We're still hanging in there. I mean, it's sad for the tournament that Rafa had to withdraw, and also for him. I actually traveled with him to America. That was not planned. It was nice to see him and his family, and I know he came in early because he really wanted to adjust to the time zone. Get as much as practice as possible, get himself ready to play. That's why he came in early. So he gave his best, and wasn't to be, but I think he was always saying that he wants his, peak of his abilities to come during a clay court season, obviously with Roland Garros, in only a few months' time. So, but again, there's new kids on the block, so to say. I mean, Alcaraz, Sinner, Rune, that are the leaders of the next generation, next generation. Then you have, obviously Medvedev, Tsitsipas, Zverev, these guys, Rublev, that are still top 5, top 10 in the world. These guys are amazing. I think tennis is in good hands, Hopefully the contribution that we all made in the last 20 years can serve the purpose of expanding on the popularity of tennis and growing the sport. Because, bottom line is that we all want that. We all are students and of the sport. We all are passionate about the sport. We want to see sport grow. Nobody's bigger than the sport. And I think, we have some exciting personalities, some really great players, and also players that people that also off the court bring something to, some more value branding wise to the sport. So yeah, I think it's a bright future.
Yeah, Novak, you've accomplished so much in your career, but that Olympic gold medals, what would it mean to you to get that in Paris? And if it didn't happen in Paris, is there any chance that LA, which you seem to enjoy so much, could be on the cards? Would you potentially see you in 2028?
I mean, everything is on the cards. I just don't know how many cards I have left, Let's see. It's still very far to think about Los Angeles Olympic Games, but the thought of it excites me, of course. Love to play that. But, as we know, Olympics come every 4 years. I can't really commit to that yet. I think I'll take it year by year and just see how body serves me, how passionate and committed I am really, how much motivation do I really have to do what I have done most of my life, day in, day out. It's becoming harder and harder, but I still love this sport and still have been competing at the highest level and still number one. So I feel, at the moment that I still want to keep going and keep trying to make more history, So let's see how far I go.
Novak, following up on this question, I still hear fans talking all the time about the coincidence of you and Rafa and Roger overlapping for all these years. And I just wonder if you ever think about what might have been if there'd been no Rafa and no Roger. Have you ever made a guess how many majors you might have by now?
But I think it's probably fair to ask them the same question, right? So, what if is not really in my head. In terms of what more could I have won if there wasn't for these two guys. I try to see it from a different perspective of being really just grateful that I had the rivalries that I had with these two guys, because they made me the better player. I've said this a million times already. It's just at the beginning I remember I won my first slam. I was 20 years old in Australian Open 2008. And played finals in the US Open 2007 against Roger. And, when I won Australian Open 2008, I felt like, okay, I broke the ice. I'm going to now, get in the mix with these two guys and try to dominate the sport and be the best. But for 3 years, I wasn't able to do that. So the next slam that came for me was only 3 years later in Australia in 2011, sorry. So it took me really a while to break the code of Nadal and Federer, particularly in the biggest matches on the biggest stage. I just wasn't able to win against them when it mattered the most, and then the tables have turned. And then I, figured out what I need to do and kind of matured mentally, emotionally, and of course physically as a player, more experienced. And then since that moment, my career has been going, thankfully, with upward spiral. So, which is amazing. But it's all due to them and the rivalries I had with them and a kind of lessons I had to learn from the matches that particularly the ones that I lost against them early in my professional career. So everything happens in life for a reason, with a reason. And I think that it's beautiful for our sport that we had amazing rivalries that have really, marked an incredible 2 decades. And I remember John McEnroe was saying in one of the documentaries that I've seen recently that when Bjorn Borg retired, that he felt like part of him also retired. Even though he kept going, and that's, I must say, a similar feeling that I have, with Roger, retiring and Rafa not playing much at all. It's a strange feeling, I try to find a new rival, but, and I had some great matches with Alcaraz and Sinner lately, but, they still remain the 2 biggest rivals I've ever had.
Last one, Chris.
Yeah, Novak, 5 years away, it's maybe a time to reflect a little bit. I'm just curious, how hard was it for you not to be at this tournament in particular during that period? I know the pandemic canceled it for a while. And how do you feel about the choices that you made that kept that from happening, and how about that sort of absence that you had for such a period?
Well, I don't want to go back, my position, and because of that, I wasn't able to enter States for several years. But, I was patient, and I knew that the day will come, and here we are. So I'm very happy to be here, as I mentioned. For myself, for the tournament, for the tennis fans, I think it's great that I'm back, that Rafa, fortunately he's not playing now, but he was supposed to be back as well. Because in the end of the day, we all want to be playing on the biggest tournaments, and actually ATP Tour wants us playing on the biggest tournaments because that contributes to, and of course, popularity of the sport, of the tournament itself, the tour. It generates more attention and brings a lot of different benefits. So, so I'm really glad, I haven't been part of the, what they call it, the U.S. Sunshine Double, for quite a while. So I'm excited to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.